No one believes in you. Your greatest desire is to be an incredible singer, actor, dancer, musician, some kind of performing artist, to make your living through your art, with your music, with your acting, but no one believes in you. Ouch, what a terrible place to start a video. But the truth is that if this is your situation, you gotta face it and deal with it. Is it even possible to be successful as a performing artist if no one believes in you? If there's no one that's got your back? Is it possible? Hi, I'm Fiona. It is my passion and my purpose to help performing artists just like you to master online business and social media so you can make more money with your art without wasting time or burning out. Sound good? You can follow me here and on all the other socials. Now let's dive in. How to start your career as an artist with no support. Now, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I did have some support. My parents did support the idea of me pursuing a career in the arts. But I always had this sense that my dad didn't really believe that I would be successful. He wanted to support me. He wanted to give me the best chance possible. He paid for a lot of my lessons, which was incredible. I was so blessed to have that support, but I didn't really think that he believed that I would be successful. Is that true? Or was that just my projection? I didn't think that my dad was impressed by any of the shows I was in. Well, why should he be? Because he had been seeing theater on Broadway his entire life. He'd seen operas at the Met and the New York City Opera. And I was nowhere near at that level, and I always felt like he was comparing me to people who were already completely professional, making their entire living from their performing. Was it true that he wasn't impressed? He never said out loud, "I'm not impressed." He did come to see my shows, but I didn't believe it. So was that him? Or was that me? Was it a projection of my own insecurities, or was it actually the truth? How about you? Are there people in your life who do actually support you and yet you just don't believe it? This is where we really need to start, because most of us do actually have somebody in our life who does in fact support us. It might be a parent, it might be a sibling, it might be a best friend, it might be a coworker, it might be a colleague. But really do an inventory and search out those people who do in fact support you or believe in you, and then spend more time with them. Here's what I was focusing on. My parents did not stand up at my master's recital when the entire audience gave me a standing ovation. They were there, they were in the seats, and they stayed in their seats. And I thought this meant that they did not believe in me. What was going on? Everybody was on their feet applauding except my parents. Now I've got a choice. What am I going to make this mean? And I made it mean that they didn't believe in me. But years later, I actually asked my parents, "Why did you not stand up at my master's recital?" And they said, "Oh, I thought that would be bragging." So you never know what's going on in somebody's mind when you think that they don't believe in you, that you think they don't support you, when in fact they're just being modest or they're being humble, in this case with my parents. My point is that you don't actually know what's going on with someone unless you talk to them, unless you ask them. So while I did have some support, what I came to realize is that this idea of support or people believing in us or not is really all in our heads. Because for a long time, I projected onto other people that they didn't believe in me having this career of my dreams because in fact I didn't believe in it. So let's dive in with 5 tips to really help you have and make and create the career of your dreams as a performing artist, whether people believe in you or not. So, how do you start a music career or any kind of artistic career without support? And honestly, I hate to break it to you, but it is all about the inner work. It's about the personal development and the character development and deciding to take radical responsibility for your own success. In 2022, there are so many ways to create buzz around your career all yourself. As an indie artist, there has never been a better time. You do not need a label or a manager. You can create the marketing. You can create the excitement for what it is that you do yourself. But that's right, yourself. You have got to believe in you, and you have got to show up and do the work. So whether other people believe in you or not, so long as you are showing up and doing the work to get your music out there, to get your art out there, whether that means being very strong on social media, whether that means pitching yourself to venues, whatever it means. And I've got loads of videos on this channel to help you. You do in fact have to show up, do the work, be persistent, and stick with it for the long haul. Make sense? Let me know in the comments if all of this is landing for you, all right? Now, once you have introduced yourself to personal development, once you are looking at what keeps you from taking action, once you have worked on your character and you're taking responsibility, now it's time to actually look at the projections. What do you believe about yourself that you are projecting onto other people? Is it really that they don't think you're a good singer? Is it really that they don't think you have a chance of making it as an actor? Or is it that you don't believe it? Because so often when we think somebody else is thinking something negative about us, they're not thinking about us at all. They're thinking about themselves. And it's us that's projecting that negativity on them. Make sense? Now next, I want you to ask yourself, is it even true that no one believes in you? Is it? Now you may say, absolutely yes, nobody believes in me, my parents don't believe in me, my friends don't believe in me, no one believes in me, I don't believe in me, right? Then ask yourself this, can you absolutely know for certain that nobody believes in you? Are you in their heads? Do you literally know that it's true? Perhaps a teacher that believes in you. Is there not perhaps God that believes in you? Can you absolutely say for certain that nobody believes in you? Now, whether the answer to that question is yes or no, I want you to ask yourself how it feels thinking that nobody believes in you. Because when I think about nobody believing in me, I feel like crap. It makes me feel terrible. So why would I choose to keep thinking this thought? Because it is a choice. You do not have to choose to believe that people don't believe in you. In fact, you could choose to believe something else instead. So now ask yourself, if I could not believe that nobody believes in me, if I just couldn't believe that I had no support, how would you feel then? Would you feel free? Would you feel more excited? Would you feel ready to take action? Because this is under your control. And if you're interested in learning more about these questions, these 4 questions I just asked you, I got them from a book by Byron Katie called Loving What Is. I highly recommend it, and there's a link to it in the description. Now, this is what I'm talking about when I talk about doing your work, the inner work, doing the personal development work. Because so often the thing that's really in the way of our success is us. It's our mindset. It's the BS stories that we allow to run rampant in our heads. It's the inner critic just criticizing us in our own minds. So tell me, now that you understand that it is in fact a choice, what will you choose to believe now? Okay. With a challenge like this, you can't really get into the strategy or the inspired action required to build the career of your dreams without doing this personal development work, without doing the inner work. So if you feel stuck, it's time to read the books, and I've listed a bunch of them in the description. But if the books aren't enough for you, then it's time to hire a coach or a therapist, or really work with an accountability buddy or a friend who's great with the inner work and passionate about it. It's time to develop a passion for the inner work, because it's the inner work that not only makes the external results possible, but also makes you able to enjoy those external results. Because so many people hit the big time and then collapse from drug abuse, alcoholism, overdoses, suicide. I mean, it's crazy how many successful artists end up self-destructing because they got successful, but they hadn't done their inner work. So let's do the inner work now, and then get that success, and then be around to enjoy it. All right, here's the truth. No one is ever going to care about your art and your career as much as you do. Especially not in the beginning before you're famous. So if it is too hard to believe in yourself, then I would challenge you to at least start believing that source, God, whatever you believe is bigger, universal intelligence, the goddess, whoever that is for you, that you start to believe that source does believe in you, that source did give you these gifts for a reason, that God is watching out for you, that your desire for this career, that your desire to sing, to act, to dance is divinely inspired. That your desire was placed upon your heart by God. So when you start to shift into this mindset, then it's impossible to think that nobody actually believes you and that you have no support, because you have the most important support there is. Do you hear me? Is this landing for you? Let me know in the comments. I hope so. In my opinion, given that I believe your desire was divinely inspired to perform and create art, I believe it's your obligation to do so. You have these gifts and it's your duty to put them out into the world and to share them, to share you, to share your art. Okay, so you have this gift and you have this desire. Not only is it your obligation to share that gift, it's also your obligation to cultivate your skills. Talent and gift will only get you so far. And so many big fishes in small cities come to Los Angeles, where I live, and have their hopes and dreams shattered because there are so many gifted and talented people here. I encourage you to take a page out of Michael Jordan's playbook. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team. Can you believe that? And has gone on to be one of the most famous professional basketball players, one of the greatest, one of the GOATs, the greatest of all time, one of them, Hall of Fame. I don't know if they have that for basketball, they probably do. One of the most important basketball legends. He was cut from his high school basketball team. Well, how did he get around that? He practiced like crazy. And you can read about Michael Jordan, watch documentaries, read biographies, and you'll see what I'm talking about. So it is also your obligation to cultivate your talent and your gifts, to develop the skills, to develop yourself as an artist. Whether your friends and family believe in you or not, it is still your obligation to cultivate your gift. Okay? This means training, this means practice, this means coaches, this means teachers. And while you're cultivating your skill set, it is also required that you master your mindset. That means perseverance, grit, and determination. It means radical responsibility for your success. Now, if you're at a stage where you want to put all of this into action and start really getting yourself out there on social media with the mindset support, if you want both the mindset and the strategy required to really make it as a performing artist, then I highly encourage you to consider my paid program, The Profitable Performer Revolution, because this is what it's all about. Teaching performing artists how to claim their greatness and share it with the world. You can learn more about PPR by the links in the description, by messaging me, and definitely if you're not ready for a paid program, then join my free Facebook community. I made it especially for the entrepreneurial-minded performing artist. Inside that Facebook group and here, all of these videos, they're all about the mindset, marketing, and monetization you need to have a successful career as a performing artist. Okay, let's say you're really getting this. It's landing for you and you're gonna do your inner work and you've done some, but you still have this nagging concern about how it hasn't worked in the past and how you've failed before and how it's hard to believe in yourself when you don't have any evidence. I highly recommend that you watch this video next called The Failure Fantasy. This is really going to help you to get that out of the way. Now let your light shine. You have a voice, you deserve to be heard, and the world deserves to hear you.